Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. It's time for the royal news this week, so let's see what's been going on lately. The first news was released December the 6th, 2024 in People Online. Why didn't King Charles and Queen Camilla go to Kate Middleton's Christmas Carol service? Kate Middleton was joined by most of her family at the 4th annual Christmas Carol service, but two people were noticeably absent. King Charles did not attend his daughter-in-law's holiday event on Friday, December the 6th. While no official statement was given regarding his absence, it was thought that his decision not to attend was intentional, allowing the focus to remain on the Princess of Wales, 42, who was hosting the event. When both Charles or Camilla are present, the order of royal hierarchy typically takes precedence. However, given that the event is Kate's passion project and she is the host, it makes sense that she and Prince William would be the senior-most royals in attendance. Charles and Camilla also didn't attend last year's service. Last year, the king was carrying out an outing at his Highgrove estate in Gloucestershire, which is over 100 miles away from Westminster Abbey in London, where the carol service was taking place. Additionally, Queen Camilla, 77, is still recovering from a recent bout of pneumonia and has been scaling back her public appearances as she continues to recover. Both Kate and Charles have had a difficult year in the wake of their undisclosed cancer diagnoses. The bond might grow stronger as they both navigate cancer during the first time in the monarchy's history. The two senior royals are facing the diagnosis simultaneously. He has always had a very good bond with her. I don't think it's presumptuous to say that she is like the daughter he never had, royal biographer Sally Bendel-Smith previously told People. He shares with William an impulse to protect her. They are in this together, Kate and the king. Apart from being king and future queen, they are also two patients going through a common health experience, said a royal source, noting they are bound to have a close connection. And I imagine there is some comfort for Kate in seeing that it's possible to balance some private information without there being an imperative to share all. Our next story was published on December the 3rd in People Online. Royal biographer Andrew Morton says that Queen Elizabeth would be proud of the way Prince William handled his brutal year. Queen Elizabeth would be proud of the way the future King Prince William has handled what he has described as a brutal year, royal biographer Andrew Morton said. Morton, who famously wrote 1992's Diana, Her True Story about Princess Diana, told the Mirror of Prince William, "I don't envy his role at the moment. He's got a lot on his plate," referring to the dual cancer diagnoses this year of both his wife, Kate Middleton, and father, King Charles. He added, "But William is handling it as well as you can do when you got a wife who's been seriously ill and three children who need support and comfort. For anyone dealing with long-term illness, especially in that kind of position, it's very difficult." Queen Elizabeth believed the show has to go on, Morton said, and in that vein, William has undertaken as many official engagements as he can, but it requires a lot of maturity, common sense, and empathy. As Morton put it, William, 42, has had become father, nurse, and Prince of Wales, and though no one could have predicted 2024 and the royal family, he is likely relying on the solid training he received at an early age from his grandmother, who died September the 8th, 2022, at 96 years old. He used to see her every weekend when he was a pupil at Eton, Morton said. They used to chat about his future duties, and she prepared him in a very careful way. William owes the Queen an awful lot, as they all do. Though the Queen mentored Prince William from an early age, she was careful not to pile on royal responsibilities too soon, Morton said. The Queen remembered her own early days in her marriage when she had her happiest times in Malta, he said, referring to the 2 years before taking the throne that she spent there with Prince Philip from 1949 to 1951. So she's very mindful of the fact that these young couples shouldn't have to harness themselves to doing endless royal duties, Morton continued. They could spend a lot of time getting to know one another and enjoy a normal life, and William and Kate for the first couple of years managed that. Morton told the Mirror that Prince William really appreciated his grandmother's words of wisdom and added the Queen was great in terms of character, whether it be horses or people. She'll have seen in William that he was someone who was prepared to sacrifice elements of his own privacy and life to be an active member of the royal family, which he has become. For his part, William said his grandmother, at the occasion of her Diamond Jubilee in 2012, that she was an incredible role model, and after her death, said in a speech following King Charles' coronation concert at Windsor Castle in 2023 that he knew Queen Elizabeth's up there, finally keeping an eye on us. And the last story, it comes from Fox News, and it's dated December the 3rd, 2024. King Charles secretly paying Prince Andrew's rent after stripping his allowance, an expert thinks. King Charles is said to be extending his generous olive branch to a scandal-plagued sibling. Charlotte Griffiths, the Mail on Sunday's editor-at-large, claimed that the monarch is in the secret source who paid Prince Andrew's rent, allowing the disgraced Duke of York to stay at his palatial Royal Lodge home. Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine and author of My Mother and I, agrees with Griffith's scoop. Buckingham Palace didn't immediately respond to Fox News' digital request for comment. There's absolutely no doubt that Charles is the one who's providing the money for Andrew because the late Queen wouldn't have left Andrew bereft, Seward explained to Fox News Digital. She would have made a provision for him, and maybe that provision came through his elder brother as monarch. When the king dies or the queen dies, the money goes to the next monarch. Everything goes to the next monarch. So she either would have made provisions for Andrew before she died, or she would have made provisions through Charles. I believe that Charles is helping him, Seward continued. I don't see who else would. I'm sure Andrew's ex-wife Fergie would help him. I know Fergie does very well with her books, but I can't imagine she would make enough to run Royal Lodge on her own. I certainly think that the only person who would really be doing this is either monies from the Queen or monies from the King, she said. Griffiths claimed that, according to multiple sources, the King has personally cleared his errant brother's bills for his upkeep and promised his Royal Lodge woes would be taken care of, enabling him to stay there for the foreseeable future. The editor also claimed that someone at a glamorous and it's usually ultra-discreet dinner table told her that Charles had paid for it all. The King has cleared it. It's all done, the source claimed. The palace insider, who's been a guest at Royal Lodge in years gone by, claimed that not only did Charles handle the finances, but none of the funds came from the taxpayer money. The Sunday Times previously reported Andrew, 64, raised enough money to live in Royal Lodge. The estate is worth a reported $38 million. According to the outlet, the prince's funds were approved by the keeper of the privy purse as coming from legitimate sources. The Duke of York, or Prince Andrew, as we like to call him, always lived in a palace, said Seward. He was in the Navy, yes, but apart from being in the Navy, he's always lived in a palace. He lived in Buckingham Palace, and then his home was Royal Lodge, which is a very grand home, and he doesn't want to leave it. I think Charles said to him, Andrew, it would be so much better for you if you moved out of Royal Lodge, and moved into Frogmore Cottage, because it's been modernized inside. It's been beautifully done up. It's easy to run. It's not expensive to run, and you're within the security of Windsor Castle compound, so it's not going to cost millions in security. Seward noted that funding to maintain the Royal Lodge includes maintaining over 30 rooms and over 50 acres of gardens. It's not just a little house in the middle of nowhere, said Seward. It's huge and therefore needs a lot of upkeep. But I think that there's no way he and Charles would have had a row about it, because Charles isn't like that. He would have said, you got to get out, Seward insisted. He would have suggested why it would be easier to get out, and Andrew said, no, I want to stay. So Charles said, fine, but it's going to have to remove this very expensive security, and we'll need to find an alternative. It's also believed that Charles tried to use a loophole to get Andrew out of Royal Lodge. According to the Sunday Times, the King, 76, would have covered his brother's living expenses if he moved into Frogmore Cottage, the former UK home of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. After Andrew reportedly refused to downsize, the King axed his allowance. Andrew has been living on the estate since 2004. He resides there with his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson. According to reports, he spent over $9 million on repairs and renovations and $1 million to take it over. His annual rent is a reported $337,000, and the property requires an estimated $503,000 annually to upkeep. The Sunday Times reported that the King didn't renew the contract for Andrew's private security team. The monarch was paying for Andrew's security after the prince lost his police protection in 2022. The security team is said to cost Charles nearly $4 million annually. At the time, a spokesperson for Buckingham Palace told Fox News Digital the palace wouldn't comment on security matters. The Crown Estate would have loved to get Andrew out of Royal Lodge because they could rent the whole thing, said Stewart. It needs to be seen as making money, and as long as Andrew lives in Royal Lodge, it's preventing them from making as much money as they could. It's just too bad he is the late Queen's second son. British broadcaster and photographer Helena Chard told Fox News Digital that Andrew has attempted to keep a low profile at Royal Lodge. Family and the few friends he has left have been incredibly worried about his fragile state and well-being, adding that the prince has been isolated. His one savior has been his immediate family, she said. He has a revived sense of energy and purpose through his grandchildren. He's even been spotted teaching his 3-year-old granddaughter, Sienna, how to ride horses, and this will bring him great joy, especially as his mother, the late Queen, enjoyed riding horses at that same age. Chard also claimed that the king, who was diagnosed with an undisclosed form of cancer, has put any animosity between himself and Prince Andrew behind by extending an invitation to Sandringham. The country retreat is where the royals gather every year to celebrate Christmas. So that is all the news for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated, and it'll help my channel to find even more wonderful viewers like all of you are. I wish everyone a good day, and tune in again soon for another episode of Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.